Welcome fledglings to another video. My name is MB Gaming and welcome to not Pokemon for once. Yeah, I know, right? It's absolutely shocking. We're not playing Pokemon today. We're playing Victoria 2 with the Heart of Darkness. This DLC and on the Historical Projects mod. Now let's get into this. We're going to be playing as the United States of America. As you can see, I have lots of practice as the United States. So this should be pretty fun. Now then, let's see here. This is the world in 1936, and we'll get into this. Now then, the United States, and then let's get into this game. Now, this game is a pretty fun game. I love this game, and it's quite different from most games I've played on the channel in the past. This one's mostly history-based. And now today we're going to get into this game, and I'm going to explain to you a bunch of features before the game actually starts. Now, first and foremost, there's these things. These are like messages from about what's going on in the rest of the world. Those aren't important to us right now, so we'll get rid of those. Now then, first thing we go to is in technology, and we'll set a research to research. Now, beginning off of this, we have a set of decisions, as you see here, and when we take those, we get certain events. If we like research certain stuff, we get to use that stuff in our two decisions. Like I'll show in here in the politics tab. Now then, for like the decision for manifest destiny, I need to research. Oh, that's the wrong one. For manifest destiny, I need to both research idealism and state and government, and so I need to do that before. I need to do that in like 10 years. By April 16th, 1846, which is when the war that I want to do needs to break out. Now, then first I'm going to do this, and I'm going to enact a very important decision, which is the East India Company, which, for historical purposes, I want in this. Okay, so anything else? Nope, that's everything else. So let's disable decisions. This will disappear in 1 year, so we don't have to worry about that. And now more about this tab. Now in the politics tab, this is the tab in which we get to decide a bunch of stuff. Now then, here's our reform where we can improve the government, like get good minimum wage, good schools, outlaw child labor, and most importantly for America, outlaw slavery, which we won't be able to do for a long time, like 10 years maybe? No, 30 years? Yeah, 30 years sounds about right. And then this is the movements. Now later in the game, when you when this consciousness gets more high, people will start causing movements for different things, which I can't explain all of them right now. I'll explain them when they show up. Here's the decisions, which is like actions which involve your country, which most of them are country specific, but there's some that are for all countries, like with the Suez Canal. There's one. And then here's the release nations tab. Now as America, we have 4 nations we can release, and I'm not releasing any of them because most of these are my cores, like American stuff, like this is an American core that I'll get, and then this is a Canadian core which I have, and once I release it, and eventually an event will fire in which I get that as a core, and Canada lose their core. So that's basically that. And then the next one on here that's important is diplomacy, which is where we use our political power, our diplo points here, to improve our relations with other countries like the United Kingdom, which we're going to do, and then Russia, which we're going to do, and so on and so forth like that. Now then, other than that, though, you can also come in here and, like, let's say you want to go into Africa and set priority to get Egypt into my sphere of influence, which the sphere of influence is like I'll show you under the tab right here. It's like countries that are lined towards you, like all the Austrian spheres here, which all the stuff together could make a South German Federation. Yeah. Then there's like all you can, as you can see here, there's borders of what would later become the North German Confederation is mostly German spheres. So yeah, there's that, and then spheres are basically like puppeting countries without puppeting them, if you get what I mean. And so yeah, and here we're doing that. We're also going to get Hawaii and Texas, because those are of course important if you're going to be in America. We might do the rest later. I'm not doing the Republic of Central America because spoiler alert for history, it does not last long, and so it's gonna let that fight itself out and break itself apart by the civil wars and all that stuff. Okay, so talk about that. What else should I talk about? Oh yes, I should probably talk about the colonization, which basically like you can send expeditions to places and compete with other countries for rule. Now I'm not going to take part in the Scramble of Africa, but I will probably I don't know. I don't care. So yeah, there's that. So there's also up here. I can't do this yet, but eventually I'll get an event for that. And up here is the budget, which we can use to like increase our spending and stuff and help make extra money, which we're not going to mess with too much, since we can't really afford to mess with the budget too much. Now next important tab is the Army tab, which you use to build your troops. Now I'm not going to do this yet until I'm 100% sure what I'm going to be building, so yeah, but so for now I'm just going to put my armies where they need to be. I'll put this army in Louisiana. And I'll put these guys over here. So I'll put those guys right there. Now as for my navy, I'm gonna put this all in New Orleans. Okay, so I'll grab all these ships, put them down in New Orleans. And I'll take this one. I'll merge this navy together right now, and I'll put this here also. Oh yes, that reminds me. Seeing Admiral Perry there, I should there's events here that will fire later on if I have the right countries in my sphere. So one of those countries to get an event in is the Shogunate of Japan, which I need to get into my sphere, which I will do that by doing this. Now you can like get influence points a lot, but like the more countries you have as set to priority, the less points you'll get overall. So keep that in mind when you're trying to do stuff like form Germany as Austria or whatever. Now that all that stuff is done, is there anything else important? This we probably won't ever see. We probably won't ever see this. And production we might get into later, but it's not that complicated to explain. So I think with all that stuff, I think I can just get into this game. Oh yes, I should also probably show this. Here, so right now there's a bunch of wars going on around the world. There's the Caucasian War between Russia and the Caucasian Eminate. Then there's the War of Farapos, which is against Brazil versus Rio Grande do Sul. And there's the Ottoman Restoration of Tripoli, which is the Ottomans are annexing a country, annexing what is today Libya. Then there's this war, the Netherlands against what will soon be Indonesians, and then there's the Russian-Circassian War, which is Russia versus Circassia. There's also, this is the most important one for us, is the Texan War of Independence, where Mexico's trying to annex Texas while Texas is trying to stay independent, which is impossible in this game. And also, the British are just doing their things with getting countries in their spheres. Now then, right now, I'll explain this. The two most easiest countries to play as in this game is the United States and as the United Kingdom. The United States of America is a country that most countries in the other great powers list, I'll show you that real quickly, all of these great powers, they'll most likely not ally with you as America, and so therefore you tend to stay out of all European conflicts. And as for the United Kingdom, they have a thing where they tend to ally with Prussia but not get involved with the wars that much, so they usually just spend most of their time working on what's very historically accurate, them getting all their colonies. So without further ado, let's get into this game. That's a lot of things to explain about in a game, huh? See, as I said, they do that, but note they'll really ever get involved in European affairs. But it's pretty interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna accept this military access from Texas because I want Texas to like me. That's Spain. I mean, the United Kingdom messing with other people's spheres of influences, which I kinda hate. Some newspapers. Civil War in Central America. Yeah, I kinda said that was gonna happen, huh? It's gonna break apart. The Federal Republic of Central America has been chaotic since its inception due to a general fear of domination by Guatemala. With rebels rising throughout the country, the struggle to maintain the union seems like an almost impossible one. Now, it probably is possible to stay formed as the Republic of Central America, but as of right now, it's not going to happen. And that's the most important thing in this, besides the Carlist War. Now, the death of Spain's King Ferdinand in 1833 and the ascension of young Isabella, only 3 years old at the time, meaning she's only 6 years old right now, to the throne recently sparked a revolt by supporters of the king's brother, the Infante Carloso, or Infant Carl, or Charles, I think. He intends to depose Isabella and restore the Spanish Empire to glory. Now, there's a bunch of interesting countries you can play as, like Spain and the Papal States, and do lots of cool alternate history stuff, but that's probably for a different series later down the line if this one does good enough, so we'll have to check that out later. Yeah, so the 3 easiest countries to play as, 4 I should say, is the United Kingdom, as I said before, America, as I said before, France, and then Prussia, because they both have strong militaries and will colonize the heck out of everything. Russia, it might seem pretty great, but I've seen them get so badly beaten that they have 3 revolutions in a row, which is of course 1 less than they had in real life. Now then, Sweden might also be an interesting one, but because you could, in theory, puppet Denmark and then go around and puppet Finland, but it's a bit harder to do in this game than it might look. Okay, now let's get back into this. As you can see, America is pretty small. We don't have any of our we don't have California, Nevada, Utah. This part of I believe this is, hang on, this is Wyoming. Sorry, people from Wyoming. I'm great with my states. I just like all the box-shaped ones. It can get confusing. We don't have the giant thing of Texas, which is from right here all the way to right here, which is kind of scary to get. And then there's also New Mexico here, which I definitely need to get. And yeah, so right now as America, I think we have 16, 17 states maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to count. This one's New York, New England, Concord most likely, especially, and then there's Vermont. Then this is this is either Maine or still part of Massachusetts, I'm unsure. Then there's Boston in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm not counting all these. Someone knows for sure how many states there are, and let me know. Now, right now it's 1846, and I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, I believe this is our last year with President Andrew Jackson, who is not my favorite of the presidents. He's pretty terrible. I hate him. Never should have got elected, but what am I gonna do? Complain? Yes, I'm going to complain. Now, here's something I can actually do. Now, I'm going to need to build up my navy for the upcoming war, so I'm going to add a couple of. I'm gonna add these 8 transports. I'm actually gonna do these transports since they're better. Okay, there's that done. As for troops, when these guys get together, I'll see how many I have, and I'll try to create an even stack of probably 6 of each unit, which is gonna be a pretty large army, because that's 6,000 people. There would be 6,000 infantry, 6,000 cannons, and 6,000 cavalry, which is all pretty exciting when you think about it. Now then, in this video, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I feel like I'm going to end, and when do I get this? I'll get this on October 27th, so when we get the one after this, maybe we'll end this game and continue again tomorrow. Sounds good? Good. Okay, so I'll continue improving my relations with European powers. Now then, this video is being fun. This game's something I've always been wanting to record for a long time, and I'm excited to get to do it now. And as you can see, the Ottoman Empire is trying to increase their own opinion in Egypt, which is a puppet of them, but Egyptians don't really like the Ottomans right now, and I might end up getting pulled into a war with them. I don't know yet, but when the Oriental Crisis starts, that's gonna be a bit of a problem, and I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it if I get called in as an ally of Egypt. But mostly I'm just focusing on Egypt so I can get the Suez Canal. As for the Panama Canal, I'll be honest, the historical events where America seizes Panama and releases it as an independent state and then takes Balboa to make the canal, I don't know how that works in this game. I've never gotten to that point in the game where I could do that, because I've always built the canal ahead of time, but who knows what's going to happen with that. Now this game's going to be mostly historically accurate, so I'm going to stay out of Africa. I'm not going to justify any wars at all. All wars I'm going to get are going to be through events. All decisions I make are going to be through events like these. I'm not going to read all this, but basically this is the Second Great Awakening, which is a thing that did happen in America. And yeah, so I'm going to stay out of Africa for the most part, except to get the Suez Canal, possibly. Then I'll probably let Egypt go after that, because I'll be honest, once I do that, Egypt will probably not be chased after by any of the other European powers, because that's the only reason you'd want Egypt. Unless of course you're something like a British. person who just wants to colonize the whole world, like with their India over here. The EIC, the East India Company. Ooh, okay, so first country in this game to default under debts. Now then, I could try and go to war with them, but, that's kind of stupid considering this is a German state and I'm, like, not only are they landlocked, I have to go across the ocean, cross into France, then cross into Prussia to get to it. It's like right, somewhere over here. I think it's I don't know which one it is, but yes, it's a German state, and we're going to possibly see that get taken over. Issue an official declaration for giving it dead. Now I'll do this one, so that way I don't the consciousness of the rich people. Treaty of Umada. The Zoas are now in the British Sphere, which is an African country. We're gonna see a lot of stuff go on around here, and it's gonna be pretty exciting, I think, so be ready for it. Austria's relations. None of this stuff looks like it's important. Fears of Imperial Japan. And dinosaur. This was discovered. Yeah, none of this stuff is important right now, so I'll get rid of that newspaper. As you can see, British owns most of Washington, which is not good. So, well, by I believe the 1840s, we're going to get an event where we can get the settlement that we got originally to where we get that. Or in theory, in that event, we could, I believe, claim all of British Columbia, which fighting the British as such a small country is probably not a good idea. Like, not at all, so I wouldn't try it. Could also just, like, part of the deal is just get this part and then the British will keep that part, which that doesn't, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Let's increase relations. Countries you want to get, I as America want to get on my good side. The United Kingdom, since they border me just right here, and as you'll see later on, or probably over here, they have a stack of 60 troops in total, which is pretty scary if you're only have total of 14 military strength. Yeah. Oh look, this is an important thing. Santa Anna, the president of Mexico, was captured in Texas. Which happened historically. He was wandering the deserts of Texas, and so the Texans captured him and ransomed him off for a ceasefire in a treaty. So that's what happened of that. So now they're no longer at war, at least for now, and hopefully later on they won't be at war again, which would suck a lot. Regulated in buying and selling of stocks. Ew. Don't mess with the stocks, man. It's no bueno. Okay, so this is already has 6 infantry and 1 cannon, and cavalry is 0. So I'm just going to ooh, this is important. I'll read this one. The one issue that the founding fathers of our great nation were never able to answer conclusively was the question concerning the status of slavery within the Union. This inflamed debate has only gained traction in the years since the Revolution, and it is presently the singular most important issue on our country's political agenda. Some radical Southerners feel that there is no possible compromise to be found on the issue, and the secession is the only alternative to being dominated in emancipation by the central power in Washington. Should our Senate ever be in a position to force political reform on itself, a 40% liberal upper house, we can be certain that it will not happen without opposition. We can expect this issue to linger for some time, so we're gonna get the slavery debate until July 7th, 1866, which of course is a year after the Civil War ends, and so slavery would have already been outlawed by then. But yeah, that's what we're looking at right now, so far in the game. The slavery and the Civil War is going to happen. It's unavoidable. If you somehow get a party in charge that will outlaw slavery, which it's not going to be possible, because even if the Whigs are in charge, who are of course anti-slavery, they'll most likely not do anything about it, and that's going to be scary. Let me do this. An alliance from the Republic of Central America. I'm pretty sure that's not going to last for long, but okay. Now we get to actually get a better look at what's going on over here. As you can see, Costa Rica and Nicaragua already left. So right now it's just Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Los Altos. No, Chiapas. Los Altos, yes, it's Los Altos. Which, I don't think that country's gonna last long, because it will be most likely be a part of Mexico later on. Now, as you can see here, there's a lot going on here. All the Spanish colonies are here, independent, and that's awesome. Okay, then anything important here? Remember that beta read? Democracy in America, France. In 1835, Alexis de Tocqueville published his Democracy in America, which was immediately recognized as a classic in both America and France. Yeah, so right now, France is a constitutional monarchy, which was, yes, true at this point, but soon, eventually, this is, and I think, 50 or 48, one of those years, it's going to become a republic again. Then, it's going to become Napoleon again, and then it's going to become a republic again. Yeah, it's France is a mess in this time period. Okay, so I can North America. I can increase Texas's opinion of myself and make them cordial towards me, which means they'll like me a bit more. Which is gonna be good, because I need Texas in my sphere if I'm going to eventually annex the Republic of Texas. So yeah, I need to do that first. Now this mod, the historical projects mod, it's a really great mod, but it of course doesn't have everything in it. It has most stuff in it, but like not a lot of stuff. So yeah, so we're probably not going to see the Californian Republic during this Mexican-American War. And we're probably not going to see stuff like another example of something we probably won't see. We also probably won't see I don't know anything else. Like, there's some stuff we won't see a lot of. Stuff we will definitely see is the constant fight between these two right here to become the only Germany. Which, I'll admit, it is a lot harder as Austria to form Germany, because there's all those because there's all these cultures here that are not South-German. Because, like, I'll show you a bit of Austria. They're only accepted culture is South German, but of course there's like Poles, Slovaks, Slovenes, Italians, Hungarians and Romanians, all in Austria as well. We could create our protectorate in Idaho and add it onto our state right there. So yeah, that's it's done now. I said, as we said, I can't do this because eventually to colonize Africa you need a bunch of crazy stuff, which I'm probably not going to get for a while, since I'm not even going to colonize Africa, so no really point in trying to get it, but we'll probably see it eventually. Also, like, I actually did explain this, but the reason why I'm not going to go a lot after Africa is because in this mod, I believe it's the same in this mod, that like the Berlin Conference, or whoever holds the conference for the Scramble of Africa, America is never invited to it, and so like I can't really participate in the Scramble for Africa, which is kind of bad, and I don't like that, but it's historically accurate, I guess. Now then, I can add Japan to my I can make myself friendly with the Shogunate of Japan. Then I'll puppet them, and then hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully, after the Spanish-American War, I can probably send Admiral Perry's expedition to the Shogunate to influence Japan with that Gump diplomacy, which was very popular, which is basically, if you don't shoot us, if you don't trade with us, we will shoot you. Which is like a pretty accurate thing. There's already 9 troops over there. I don't like that. That's kind of scary. City wars. Is there anything interesting that I'd like to talk about going on? No, it hasn't happened yet, which is a shame, because like when that happens, it's like the most important war that's gonna happen in this decade, I think. That important war being the what's it called? The drug, what's the drug called? The Opium War. There's gonna be many Opium Wars. We're probably gonna see like 5 of them. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually true. But like many different countries can start them. But I believe I remember once playing as America, I got the event to possibly start the Opium Wars, but the British are usually the ones who get it. It's like I think you need to be trying to add Qing Empire to your sphere, which is impossible. Like the only people who could probably try it is Russia, because like what happens is like you get a negative debuff due to population, which like Russia's the only one who could match it right now in population. But other than that, like all these other bonuses are hard to do. With a nation on another continent, again, Russia will be able to do this. But like as you can see here, China is struggling to be a major power despite its largeness. Like it has a lot of troops, like has a scary amount of troops, like more than most countries in this game, but yeah, it's sadly all those troops are of low level. With despite Chinese inventing gunpowder and guns, they don't use muskets in this game, or as I like to call them, those old loadeds. So right now we have those flintlocks, which I mean flintlocks are okay, but of course we don't want those. We want the hopefully get the breech loaded rifles very quickly. Like a bunch of these stuff are important, but the most important stuff for America is culture, industry, navy, and army. So commerce kind of sucks, because like there's no decisions that you unlock by doing commerce. Really, I mean, there probably is that I don't remember, but you probably won't ever see it. So yeah, I've been wanting to play this game for a while. I've tried recording in the past, but man, that didn't work out as much as I would have liked. So I'm recording it now instead. And yeah, ideological thought is being researched. Anything interesting that I can talk about? The Treaty of Vassallo. In a humiliating blow to Mexico prestige, General Santa Anna was captured within Texan territory, found wandering the countryside in an attempt to return to Mexico. While in prison, Santa Anna agreed to a series of treaties which recognized Texan independence among other guarantees, all in exchange for a safe return. The question now falls on whether falls to Mexico whether to honor the Treaty of Vallecesco obtained under duress or refute them. As we saw earlier, they called a ceasefire for now, but yeah, so that probably won't happen. Now Texas will probably get an 44 something like that. Like the event, it's an event, not a decision, so we can't just decide to annex it. I don't know if it's a decision for them or if it's like just a random event. Probably a decision for them, but like they'll eventually decide to become a state, and then I can annex them as a state. And that's how we get Texas. And then after that, like immediately in 46, we're probably going to end up in a war with Mexico over the rest of the states, which as you can see, it looks kind of hard to win all these states against Mexico. Like, I mean, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 states here, 7 whole states here that we have to get from Mexico. And well, it looks more difficult if you do things historically accurate to how it was done in real life. Then it's actually a pretty quick war. So we wouldn't have to worry too much. For those of you who don't know what happened in real life, what's his name? No. Winfield Scott, right there, with Zachary Taylor. Winfield Scott, basically, he invaded Mexico from the south into Veracruz, and then marched to Mexico City, and then afterwards they signed Guadalupe Hidalgo. Now for this commander, I'm gonna yeah, he's pretty good, but for historically accurate rise, I'm going to change him out for Winfield Scott. First, I'm gonna put right now, I'll put Zachary Taylor right there. Even though he's terrible, I know he's terrible, but like I have no choice but to use him kinda right now, so I can switch these guys out. I'll actually keep Zachary Taylor up there anyway, since he invaded into Texas. So yeah, it'll be a nice little Easter egg to have him just invade into Texas and fight this Mexicans there. And after that, I'm probably going to so actually, yeah, that's how we won the war, was with that simple technique. It took months. It did not happen overnight, like some might think. It took months. Okay, and now I was gonna build troops for this. I need 6 cavalry and 5 artillery. First, I have to do a deal with Texas. Opinion, now they're friendly. Next, they're gonna be in my sphere, which basically means I own them. without actually owning them. Now I'm going in here and I'm going to make some troops. Now, this is probably obvious, but I'm going to avoid as much Dixie troops as possible because, Dixie culture is not good, especially post-Civil War, especially pre-Civil War. Like, I mean, right now it would be okay, but like in the 50s, like the 1850s, I'd need to like start replacing them since it's so close to Civil War, and once the Civil War breaks out, all these guys are going to desert. Okay, then so let's see, Hussars, Cossars, Dragoons. I'm doing Dragoons. I don't know. These things are kind of hard to understand because, like, in my past experience, I have a lot of trouble with these guys. Them not wanting to stay alive and fully funded and stuff like that. So yeah, I tend to have a lot of trouble with those guys. Wait. Yep, that's about right. Okay, then, so while those are building, I'm gonna go into serious debt because I'm funding the military. And at any point, I could actually go bankrupt. That's something you need to keep an eye out for in this game. Make sure you don't lose all your money. Now, there's ways I could cut costs. Like, you could, like, pull some of this stuff back. Like, you can pull this back. Like, duh, I can pull that back. It's not even doing anything. I can, in theory, pull back military spending and lower my number of troops I can have, but that's usually not a good idea. Now then, let's get in here and invest in the United Kingdom. Now, oh yeah, I've never explained why I wanted to get good with Russia. I believe that the higher relationship I have with Russia, even though in this case it's not true, that the higher relation I have with Russia, the higher the chances of me easily buying Alaska is. It's like in the base version of this game, you have an event in which you have a decision which fires an event where Russia can decide whether or not to sell you Alaska. In this game, they will sell it to you in 1866 like they did originally if you agreed to buy it, but I still like keeping them on my good side because Russia is big. Okay, I'll admit that they're big, way bigger than the British, obviously. So I had to show you the population density, which is this one. Yeah, besides London, Russia has a lot of people in just one place. Yeah, there's like millions here. Of course, the most population lives in these parts. Oh god, China's a mess. There's maybe not even Russia can properly can properly try and spear China into their influence. Seems like China might have more population than Probably wish this game had music, huh? Well, it does. I just don't have it turned on because I kind of don't like music. Want to hear it for a second? Yeah, I never liked the music in this game. It's pretty boring compared to other Paradox games. And so that's why I try my hardest not to play the music on this game, because the music isn't that good. Yeah, the music's not that good. I don't like the music in this game. Okay, hang on, I need to check that. There's nothing, never mind that, that was nothing. Thought I was getting a text message or something, but it's not important. You know, usually in my videos, I ask the people watching this question, aka the 2 people who actually watch these videos, questions. Like, in the last one, I asked people watching what's their favorite fruit and vegetable. And today, I think I'm going to ask, since we're playing as America, a democracy with presidents in it, I'm going to ask all those people what's their favorite leader of their country. Because my favorite president of the United States was Abraham Lincoln. Oh, and speaking of favorites, here's a very good favorite. I better read all this. Today, in the year of our Lord, 1837, William IV, by the good grace of God, King of the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and Ireland, defender of the faith, died in Windsor Castle. As he had no living legitimate children, Princess Victoria of Kent, William's niece, found herself ruling one of the great powers and the biggest colonial empire in Europe. Her coronation is scheduled for the 28th of June, 1838, when Princess Alexandria Victoria of the House of Hanover will officially ascend to the throne of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland as Queen Victoria. Her reign, which would last even a few years into the 20th century, would later be remembered as the absolute zenith of the British Empire, upon which the sun never sets. The last British monarch of the House of Hanover, her ascension also marked the end of the personal union between Britain and Hanover, which is this German state, which King George III would have probably sold out to the French and we would have probably sold Canada to the French in exchange for keeping that during the 7 Years' War. Her ascension marked the end of personal union between Britain and Hanover, in which, under Salic law, excludes women from inheritance. Her uncle became King Ernest Augustus I of Hanover. Today, a jubilant crowd in London has escorted the young Queen Victoria to her residence in the newly reformed Buckingham Palace. That's everything I just read. I'm not reading that again. That's crazy. If we look carefully enough, eventually, if we come over here, we might see buildings that are very familiar get built, which is kind of cool. It's mostly only in capitals though, so yeah, it's hard to I never find the other stuff like the Brandenburg Gate, which, to be fair, I never look in on Prussia, so I'll go. Let's see if we can see the Brandenburg Gate by looking in at Prussia and Berlin. No, there's no Brandenburg Gate. Man, Germany used to be so big. What happened to it? Oh, I know what happened. It lost 2 world wars, but it's sad what happened to it. It used to be such a big country. Just like Austria used to be so big. Sad what happens. Speaking of Austria, as I say that they can form the South German Confederation, that's a very loose can. Like, they have the option to try, but usually in the game, even if they win the Brothers' War, they usually just form Austria-Hungary anyway, since they really have no ability to form it while releasing a lot of these puppets. Because I can never get the assimilation to work properly when I play as them. Which, like, assimilation rates, which we can basically make Hungary into South German, and then like this into South, then we can make like this culture into South German, this culture into South German, and then this culture into South German. This culture is already South German, so we don't have to worry much about that. But yeah, all this non-South German stuff, we could turn those into South German speakings if you do the assimilation rates properly, which, like, it's kind of hard to just see how that stuff works. The only time I ever got simulation rates to work properly was as America, when I once in a game, after getting into a war with the United Kingdom, annexed Canada, and I was able to assimilate them and turn them into the American culture, the Yankee culture. Nothing interesting here. Someone died. Okay. There's a more restoration. Okay, then return to car. Oh, that's actually pretty important. So it was thought that the supporters of the Infante Carlos and his descendants have been completely routed in Spain. Yet once again, there are reports of a rebel cell having been established. That's the thing we're probably gonna keep seeing until one side eventually wins out. Right now it's the normal Spain, but if the Carlos wins, we'll get the ever aggressive trying to restore Empire Spain, which is, I never liked them. They're pretty scary. The Benevolent Empire, I'll have to take a look at that in a second. But our direct impact of the religious revival in the USA in the early 19th century would be the explosion in the number of voluntary organizations organized to help improve society by tackling perceived social or moral problems in the society, providing comfort to the less fortunate, or promoting self-help via education. Dubbed the Benevolent Empire by historians, these organizations help to provide a community infrastructure for society, rapidly expanding in numbers and being transformed by new economic forces for the betterment of society. We lose a lot of militancy, which is the violence of these movements, which we'll see. Because the higher that is, the more violent the movements are, while the conscious, the higher that is, the more movements we get. That makes sense. American Washington, we can could create a state in that. I don't know why we would, because it's not full. Ah yes, and here's the thing I've been waiting for. We're creating a state now, and we get to choose whether we want slavery. Another astounding victory for the United States of America today, as it has now become clear that America Washington will, as has been expected for some time, be taken up into the American parsimony with full rights and of national statehood. One question that still remains to settle, however, the issue of slavery. Slavery can be extended within our country, and the question on the table is whether we wish to extend the institution to American Washington or not. So right now, this colony as a territory, there's no picture here that looks like this, which indicates slave state. So I'm not going to give them slavery. But this is probably going to give me a lot of consciousness, which I can load it by all my events and here. Like, I get a lot of the decisions in here dedicated to just lowering that, since it gets pretty high with all the slavery and stuff going on. Like the Trail Tiers, it will lower, it will remove 1 militancy and gain 2 consciousness. Then the House Gag Rule, which I wish to do immediately, will lower 1 consciousness of all pops. And the Youngstown Manifesto, which that one's controversial. I don't like that one. That loses 1 consciousness, but it basically gives me the highest chance of like making every other country in the world mad at me, so I don't like that one. Then there's the Candace Mask Act, which lowers 2 consciousness, and all the slave states will get 1. The Iron Range is 1. The Iron Range is actually pretty good. I like the Iron Range. It's pretty cool. And then, yeah, those are all the ones here right now. But more will show up, like especially after the, I get all my cores back from that stupid Mexico stealing all my cores while I wasn't looking. might say it doesn't have my courts, but those are definitely my states. Look, see, that's the American flag. You can tell because it's America, and there's only one country in the United States that deserves land, and that's the United States of America. Is that important? No, that wasn't important either. Now then, this one's almost done, and then, depending on how long this next one will take, we'll decide whether or not we end this video here or not. I feel like we're probably at 30 minutes. I'd believe that if it was true. It's about, man, I don't know, actually. I've been recording for a while now, that's all I know. Okay, then. Nah. Now it ends right about. Still up until the 21st actually, so I shouldn't count down as if I'm expecting it. Sorry that this video wasn't much gameplay. I had to explain a lot of stuff beforehand, so yeah. Ooh, Mexico's mobilizing. Oh crap, that's probably bad. That's not looking too good. Let me go to diplomacy and check. Please don't be what I think it is. Please don't be what I think it is. Oh. It's French intervention in Mexico. You're France, what you doing? You're happening a little bit too early. Okay then, so let's go back to culture and select state and government. No. So right now we'll do romanticism. So I think we'll leave that episode here, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please watch another, and I'll see you in the next video. Blah blah blah. Bye bye bye.